Okay, good evening, everyone. This is a special show. I'm attorney Vince Davis, and this is The Secret How to Fight CPS and Win. And I'm joined tonight by some very special guests. We have Miss G, Georgette Truan. We have Tiana, and I can't see your last name on the screen for some reason.
Balchunas.
Say it again.
Balchunas.
Balchunas, and then we got Destin, and we have Cassandra. How is everyone doing this evening?
Excited to
Doing
be
good.
here.
All right, so this is, I asked Grace, the producer, to find one guest, and I've got four. So it's a packed house tonight. What are we going to talk about?
Well, I have a couple of things I would like you to address to the public about when they want to retrieve their files from the court. You did mention a 827 and 828, and I would like you to address that with the public because a lot of them think they can get their records from the court by just going to the courthouse. Sometimes they have to file a motion and they have to have a hearing to request the records, correct?
Well, you know what? That's a very gray area these days. And I'm not sure what happened to cause this change. It used to be in the old days, if you wanted a copy of your file and you were a parent, you could take your government issued ID, go to the clerk's office and say, hey, I want a copy of the file. And they would make you a copy and they give it to you.
Right.
Then it transitioned into, okay, you got to come back in a week and we'll give you your file then because we got to take time out and, make the copies. Now people are telling me that the clerk won't give them a copy unless they file an 827 petition to disclose it and there's some type of hearing. Now, I happen to personally think that's probably not proper because you probably have a right, a constitutional right, if anything, to get a copy of your file where you were participating in the case.
Right.
What I think has happened in a lot of cases, judges are concerned that you'll walk into court, get your file, and then you'll plaster it all over social media. And although that may be a concern, there are laws to prevent you from doing that. And if you break the laws, I mean, that's on you. But I think that you should be able to go to court, order a copy of your file, and if they require you to fill out an 827, at least in California, it's called an 827 petition, just go ahead and fill it out because it's going to be more trouble than what it's worth. You can fill it out, you can file it, you can name the legitimate purpose that you're going to use it for, and then the court will make orders that you'll have to follow, like you can't show anybody this file, and then you're on your way.
Right, but isn't it true that they cannot use it in, like, if they want to open their case in family court, for example, they cannot use it unless they have filed a petition and a hearing with the judge?
Yeah. So this comes up a lot for me when I'm doing civil rights cases against the county and the social workers. I need the copy of the file, the social worker case, the underlying case on top of the civil rights case. And, a lot of times my client has copies of the file, or if I represented them, I have copies of the file. The problem is that I can't use it in the federal court unless I get the permission of the presiding judge, at least in California, in every county, the different counties. And, I have seen this situation. An attorney tries to use documents from the juvenile court, true and correct copies, but they're kept out of evidence because that attorney didn't go through the right process to get the records blessed to be used in another courtroom, say, for example, the United States District Court, the federal court, in prosecuting a civil rights case. I can't mention any names, but I'll tell you something that happened maybe a week ago, Georgette, and I think you were involved with this. A client called me. He actually called me a couple of weeks ago, a possible client, and he was telling me he wanted to get copies of his file to use in his family law case in another county. The problem was that the family law lawyers requested the file, a copy of the file, through the social worker's office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was trying to explain to him and then subsequently to his attorneys in family law that they were doing this the wrong way.
Mhm.
And even if they did get everything, which they weren't going to do because there was no court order, they might be prohibited from using it in the family law case, down the road in an upcoming hearing or trial.
Mhm.
So, if you think you can't figure out how to get a copy of your file, don't feel bad, because attorneys, licensed, experienced attorneys, don't know everything that they need to do to get an 820, to get the copy of the file and use it subsequently in some type of other legal proceeding.
Mhm. Okay.
So that's the story about getting your file. It used to be easy. It's a little bit complicated. And you might have to talk to a lawyer to help you, through that process, depending on your clerk's office and the supervising clerk there and how they're going to work with you. I still see some old time clerks. Well, I haven't seen it since COVID, but you would walk in with your ID and say, "Hey, I want a copy of the file," and they say, "Okay, here's your copy of the file," or "I want copies of my minute orders." I used to send clients to court pre-COVID if they wanted me to take over their case. And sometimes I'd go with them and I'd just say, "Hey, we need a copy of the file because I'm taking over the case." And they would say, "Well, get it from the court appointed attorney." And I would say, "Well, the court appointed attorney doesn't have everything." You know,
Nope.
ge- Generally, the court appointed attorney didn't have the minute orders. But
Mhm.
now in most counties, and like in Los Angeles, everything's in a portal, a computer portal, that where you as the attorney can be given access to it, and you can just download it, everything that you need.
Hmm.
So technology is changing, requirements are changing. So, keep in mind, nothing stays the same.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davis. I have another question for you. If you can address the following. When people are going through a TPR, for example, if their TPR is coming up next week or next month, whatever, what do you recommend for them? What can they do to stop the TPR, the termination of parental rights?
Okay, that's kind of a loaded question. Hold on, I'm typing something. All right, so I was just answering a comment on one of the sites. So, um, you kind of limited it when you said the TPR is next week. You have 100, at least in California, you have 120 days to prepare for your TPR. And I always scratch my head when people come to me and say, "Oh, my TPR is next week. What can
Mhm.
you do for me?" And the first thing I'm thinking, I don't mention anything to them, but at first I'm thinking, was like, where you been the last 120, 120 days? It's not like you just found out about this. And I think a lot of people are kind of in shock and they don't realize that they need to do something 120 days ago. That's like 4 months. So if you limit it to that specific thing, I would tell you this. You need to go talk to a lawyer. All right. And these are the things that you need to do. You don't have to write this down because these things are videotaped. But number one, you need to file a 388 petition in California, and they have the similar things in most states in the union. Okay. The 388 says, "Hey, judge, I want to stop the TPR because blah, 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 blah. I want the children returned to me because blah, 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 blah. I want more family reunification services because blah, 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 blah." And you can file the 388 petition. The next thing you should do is you should file a motion for a bonding study if you haven't already done that. The best practice is, and I learned this from another attorney many years ago, the best practice is when your clients or when your family reunification services are terminated, you know, um, right then and there, you have 120 days to the TPR. You should ask the judge for a bonding study, because a bonding study will give you the evidence to win a TPR hearing. Now, a lot of people think, my rights aren't going to be terminated. They're wrong. A lot of people think that this is so crazy that no judge would ever terminate my parental rights. They're
Mhm.
wrong. And a lot of people think, it must be really hard to terminate my parental rights. They're wrong. It's really easy. Prior to Clinton signing this act in the late 80s,
1997.
it was extremely hard to terminate a person's parental rights. As a matter of fact, they had to start a whole new lawsuit. They used to call it a 232 action in front of another judge in another courtroom to terminate your parental rights. It was very unusual for that to happen, and it was very hard for them to win a 232 case. But since the new law came into effect, it's very easy to terminate your parental rights.
Mhm.
So if you're heading towards a 2-6, you're kind of under the jailhouse by that time, and you got to do a lot of digging and dig fast. So there's the 388, there's the motion for a bonding study. And what a bonding study will do is will show you or tell the judge that there is a relationship between you and the child such that it would be detrimental to the child to terminate the parental rights of the mother and father. Now listen to what I said. I said detrimental to the child,
Mhm.
not detrimental to the parent,
Mhm.
detrimental to the child. The next thing that they should be focusing on is if there are any siblings, because siblings, I think in California at least, it's 12 years old. A child of 12 years old or older, I believe, can stop an adoption just by saying, I don't want to be adopted.
Mhm.
And you get a lot of cases where social workers try to convince these kids, in various ways that, oh yeah, you really want to be adopted. And, there's a lot of cases and litigation in that area. And the other thing that comes up, and you should seriously consider this, is if there are any relatives anywhere or any nephrons, non-related family members
Mhm.
that could take the child, you should be filing 388s for them. Have the child placed there.
Is that a 388 for each family member or combined together? For
Each,
each. Got it.
right? I was going to tell you a story that happened recently. Um, I had been representing this woman from the very beginning. And there's a case in Los Angeles County. And we went all through the case. She never got the child back at the 6-month date, at the 12-month date. And of course, we lost the earlier disposition hearing. And as I recall, we appealed the case and we lost the appeal. And she came to me after she lost her family reunification services during
Mhm.
that 120-day period. And she said, look, I need a plan on what to do to get my kids back.
Mhm.
I said, okay, let's come up with a plan and let's implement it. I said, but some of the stuff I'm going to tell you, you're not going to like. Some of the stuff that I recommend that you do, you're not going to want to do. You haven't done it already, so what's going to change? And you know what she told me? She says, but now I really get the picture. I'm going to lose my kids. And I'm thinking to myself, well, where have you been the last 12 months?
Mhm.
These people are serious. They're not playing around.
Nope.
I don't know if you noticed this, but when you go into the courtrooms, there's a sheriff there, a bailiff with a gun.
Mhm.
They are not playing around, and they will take your kid, and so fast it'll make your head spin.
They'll traffic your kid so fast.
Yes. So I came up with a plan. She implemented it, and she did what she had to do. Remember, I can take you to the water. I can't make you drink.
Nope.
She decided, okay, I'm going to drink the Davis Kool-Aid, and I'm going to do what I have to do. She did it so well that I think it shocked the judge. We filed a 388. The social worker recommended no, no, no. The kid should be adopted by the foster parents. And then while I was in there, I got the kids moved to a nephron who knew the family, and the boys, they were a little older.
Mhm.
I think they were like 10 or something, 10 or 11. But
Mhm.
anyway, they wanted to be with this single guy who the family knew.
Mhm.
So, and he was friendly to us. And so that kind of took the pressure off the termination of the parental rights and the permanent placement with the foster parents, who happened to be family friends, by the way. And they kind of turned on the mother. And to make a long story short, mom got her kids back. Right? We went from termination of family reunification services to kids being placed back in our care at the time of the 2-6 hearing, which was also a hearing for our 388. So when people tell me, oh, nothing can be done, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
That's an urban myth. And if you care to believe that, okay, I don't argue with people anymore. I'm 64 years old. And, in the old days, if people wouldn't listen to me, I would argue. I would argue with you, even if you were my client. Now it's, okay, you don't want to listen to me? Okay, I got it. No problem.
And also, I would like to address to the public that when your court-appointed attorney tells you to sign that you're guilty, I want you guys to understand that if you're not guilty, why would you admit to something you haven't done? Oftentimes, I hear that from people like throughout the day, and everybody tells me the same thing. They signed because they were scared and they wanted to get their kids back, but then they tell me they're not guilty, so they're like, "Is that going to hurt me?" Well, you can't sue them if you want to. And when you plead guilty, that means you're taking accountability for something you haven't done. So you can't go back and sue them if you were in the right and they were in the wrong. Am I right, Mr. Davis?
Basically, you can sue them, but your chances of winning are drastically decreased.
Drastically. And that's not even a joke. It's drastically. So that's what the court-appointed attorney's job is to discourage you guys from having your kids. And people don't understand they get paid by the state, so their loyalty is not to you. And I'm going to say this bluntly, obviously, as I always do. Court-appointed attorneys, you're not signing an agreement between you and that attorney, because that agreement is with him or her and the state. So there is no confidentiality. A lot of people tell me, hey, Ms. G, my court-appointed attorney told the social worker. Well, there is no confidentiality between you and that attorney. So yes, he or she knows the social worker. Why else would he go tell her? Because if it's between you and that attorney, how did the social worker find out? And oftentimes I hear from you guys that the social worker told you word for word what you told the court-appointed attorney. Mr. Davis, what do you think about what I'm saying?
Well, we've had this disagreement before. You have a very strong opinion about court-appointed attorneys, and I'm not saying that you're completely wrong, but everything is like in statistics, the bell curve. There are some good court-appointed attorneys. Listen, I was a court-appointed attorney 25 years ago.
Okay, that was 25 years ago.
Right. So, most of the people that call us that are having disasters in their case have a court-appointed attorney that aren't doing, what they think they should be doing. I don't try to Monday morning quarterback a case. If you're not happy with an attorney, let's make the change and change horses and let's keep riding forward. I wanted to mention this. You see this comment by 3D? I've read some of the comments she's posted on YouTube before, and she's watching on YouTube this evening. I think this lady or this person is a social worker.
Yep.
So if you go to my YouTube channel and you look for comments by 3D, he has some interesting insights about the videos. They're not pro social worker either. Anyway, let me ask you this, Tiana.
Yes.
What county and state are you in?
I'm in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you have a CPS case there?
I do. So what happened? Long story short, what happened was they took my daughter in December from school. There was allegations made, And the investigator found out to be that all those allegations were false. But then she asked me to draw a drug test. I did. I came back positive. And so the thing is, she was trying to tell me that I did. She said I was neglecting my kid and that she got me for physical impairment and cognitive limitations. I don't see how she got that. She met me one time, no proof at all with any of that.
Mhm.
But I think she needed something to keep going. She has done nothing but false accusations on my whole report about my daughter, about me, and I have proof for it all. I just realized though now, because I just got my papers. Like, my lawyer has not given me any type of thing. She does not help me with nothing. And I think I've gone through 4 caseworkers already. The first one, it took them 7 months to even do a home study where my daughter's at. Like, and so I'm kind of like, I'm ready. I want to do this because it's just not right, everything that they're doing and the things that they say just to take your children. And
They're not safe.
it's crazy. And I didn't know all this stuff was going on at first, So
Justin, what did you say? I didn't hear you.
Those kids are not safe. I mean, I can't guarantee it, but I wouldn't trust any of those foster homes.
my daughter, I got lucky though. My daughter is with kinship. So I got really lucky with that. I had an hour. The investigator told me I had an hour to find one. And I wasn't from here at the time, so I didn't really know a lot of people. But I did. And so I got really lucky. And it just, I've been compliant for everything with them. Everything I've done, my classes, my jobs, everything. And then like the recent report, they said that everything's good, but they want to keep me going. They think it's too early to let my kid come home. I was like, wait, what? Can you even do that? If I'm compliant and I'm doing everything and you guys are telling me, even the investigator, she didn't even understand why she was there at first. Like if you read my whole case, it's back and forth. Like, she doesn't even know what to say, And so they said that they don't want to give me my daughter now because they want to see if more progress from me. So,
Let me tell you this, because I hear this from a lot of people. And did you know that at the next or at the hearing, at every hearing, review hearing, you have the right to have a trial to
I
get your
didn't
child
know.
home? Yeah.
No.
So if the social worker says at the 6-month review hearing, we don't want to give her a child back because blah, 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 blah. You have the right to have a contested hearing, a trial, to prove to the judge that the child should be returned to you.
Mhm.
Now, you may not know that, or you may not have understood that through conversations with your lawyer, or you just may have thought, well, I have to do what the social worker says.
My
Right.
lawyer, she just calls me an hour before, or or maybe for an hour the day before. I've never met her. We've only done, all my court stuff has been done over the phone. She doesn't talk to me about anything. I tried to do a Rule 59, I believe it is, but they changed the name of it to have my daughter come home. She said no, she wasn't even going to push for it. I was like, wait, what? Okay. So I just, I just don't even know where to go from here. I'm going after them no matter what, but either way, I'm kind of in a loss of words, really.
Georgette, if I did like a weekly or bi-weekly Zoom, like we're doing now, or StreamYard, and talked about all of the rights you have at every particular hearing, do you think that would be helpful?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
Tiana is saying something, and I'm listening to her, and I'm thinking she has no idea
Mm-mm.
about how her case could be, maneuvered and fought. Now, I'm not saying, Tiana, had you done that, you would have your child home with you. I'm not saying that at all. But you don't even know what rights you have other than what your social worker or your attorney is telling you. And I want to make something very clear. I don't know anything about your case, right?
Uh-huh.
I can't tell you that your attorney is giving you bad advice because I don't know anything about your case.
Well, my attorney
But
and caseworker haven't even told me this. I've been researching these. What I do know, I've been researching myself.
Okay. But I can tell that you're not aware of all of the rights you have. And what I
Yes.
want people to be able to do and say is, look, I understand all of the rights I have. You know, at this hearing coming up, I've got 5 rights. And if I'm going to give up all of those rights, I'm going to give them up knowingly to what I'm doing. Not because I didn't know about them. You know, that's the worst thing possible. You know, all of the states in this country have CPS schemes that are very similar because they all have to deal or comply with federal regulations from the Department of Health and Human Services. So I know that, you know, you have the same kind of similar or the exact same kind of statutory makeup as California.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's going to be a 6-month date, a 12-month date, that there was a jurisdictional and a dispositional hearing. I know that there could be a TPR, termination of parental rights. So it's all the same, no matter if you're in Arizona or California or Florida. You know, it's all the same or similar framework. So, you know, I wrote a book, and I think you can still get it free somewhere online, or Georgette can email you a copy. And it's called The Secret: How to Fight CPS and Win. And it was written only for parents and relatives. I didn't
Okay.
write it for lawyers and judges. Okay. Completely different audience. And all I wanted to do with that book was to give you a general background, kind of a 30,000-foot overview. Because so many people I talk to every day, they have no clue as to the framework. So I got to, you know, try to explain the framework. And inevitably, the framework is much different than what they thought it was for the last, 12 months. Have
Hmm.
you ever tried to convince somebody of something that in their mind and in their heart, they believe it's this way
Hmm.
because they just didn't know any better? I mean, you and I have gone through that, I'm sure, in life. We thought that was true. And then one day we found out, you know what? That wasn't true. But we've been, living our lives as if that one thing were true. And the same thing happens in these cases. People think this is true and, I'm going to win. I was talking to a woman today and just consulting with her and trying to help her. She's representing herself against my advice, but she has these documents that could go a long way to her winning her case. And there are documents from a medical facility, a hospital. And she was telling me that she was going to introduce these documents into evidence and therefore she would win.
Mhm.
And she was right. But here's the problem. If anybody objects to those documents, they're not going to come into evidence. And then the judge can't consider them. What do you mean object to documents? Well, you know, there's all kinds of rules of evidence in every state in this country. And generally, if you just show up with pieces of paper, if somebody objects, they're considered hearsay. So I told the woman, I said, well, you got to lay a foundation. And then we have a 30-minute talk about how to lay a foundation, right? So you can't just think you have your case nipped in the bud because you have these documents.
Hmm.
You have to lay a proper foundation. But, those are things, your attorney should be talking to you. I know a few months ago, maybe not a few, maybe several months ago, I don't know if it was Georgette or somebody was asking me to do some type of series or a couple shows on evidence.
I did.
Because evidence is the only way you can win the case, but nobody knows the evidence code.
Yeah, like I mean, I had whatever all the false things she said in my case. I have like my proof to back it up. Obviously, really, if you read it, she kind of nipped herself in the butt by just even saying I had those impairments and stuff without even getting me tested for it.
Right. Right.
So
And here's another thing that you mentioned something I want to tell you. In California, and I think in most states, the evidentiary rules that apply to you, they don't apply to the social worker.
oh wow,
Right. You would think they would be equal, right?
yeah,
No, no. Social worker can use hearsay.
Huh.
You can't. And at least in California, probably in most states by this point in time, it has been held to be constitutional because they are protecting children.
Huh.
yeah, far from it.
Mm-hmm. Far from it.
I
So
didn't even get offered like in-home services. I didn't even know anything about that even existed. Like
you're
because
you're
I
you're
didn't know
headed,
any of it.
the rules and the rationales and the strategies, they can get overwhelming.
Yeah.
Overwhelming. You know, I did a show the other day where an advocate was doing her own federal lawsuit. And she mentioned on the show how basically she was losing her mind because she couldn't figure out all the rules of procedure and substantive law. She just wasn't trained in it. And she thought when she started this process, she thought she could do it herself. And I tell this to Georgette all the time. You know, if the doctor told you, Tiana, you need open heart surgery, are you going to Google it and figure it out yourself?
No.
No, because you can't. But for some reason, a lot of people think they can figure out this legal thing, the substantive law, the case law, the local rules, the rules on evidence, the rules on procedure, and on and on and on. And they can't. As
So
a
you think it's
lawyer, as a
you
lawyer, I
better-
can't. As a lawyer, it's hard for me to keep track of everything. I found myself doing a court proceeding not too long ago, and I had to make a checklist of all of the things that I wanted to argue and the evidence that I wanted to, admit, because it was so much was going on. And I
That's
know
not
if it,
right.
yeah,
That's not right.
I know if it's difficult for me, it's going to be impossible for you. Anyway, Cassandra, one of my favorite hosts. What's the name of your show, Cassandra? Okay, Cassandra's muted.
My show.
How long have you been doing these shows, Cassandra?
She's
I
actually
know.
doing the show with me now.
I was just trying to be polite and quiet, over here.
So what's your show?
Actually, me and Georgette are going to be doing a show together again, not by myself anymore.
You don't want to
I
do
miss her.
You didn't want to do a show by yourself?
No, I miss my Georgette.
Hmm.
Don't tell Davis.
I'm wondering about you now, Cassandra.
Oh,
Yippee-yi-yay, Davis. That's all I have to say about that.
So, what's the name of your show that you're going to be doing with Georgette?
I don't think we decided yet. I don't know.
We're gonna do Fight CPS.
Fight CPS.
Fight CPS with Ms. G and relatives Fight CPS, but we're trying to combine them in one show because my time. You keep me very busy, Mr. Davis. You are my boss.
Yeah, so we're talking it out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna be better than ever.
Okay, very good. Very good. Do you still have a CPS case going on?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And how is that going?
It's going. It's not the best, but it's going. One of my daughters is actually going to be going with her ex-foster mom, who was a former friend of mine anyway. They finally let her go, but my oldest, she's like still going to be left behind because she's not cooperating with their services or what they want her to do. So she's being stubborn, and I'm filing a 388 with the court. Finally, I got my public pretender to file a 388 for me. And she told me that if I file this 388, then maybe I won't be able, it won't go through because of my children's attorney. Is that true?
Well, I mean, the children's attorney can argue against you, right?
Yeah, she said my children's attorney might argue against my 388 because I haven't finished my whole case plan.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's so stupid.
I told her, I don't care if they deny my 388 and I have to do all my classes over again. Those are my children, and I'm going to do my classes over and over again if I have to. But just because I don't finish my whole case plan, they're going to tell me that I can't have my kids or can't have my services back. That I don't care. I'll do it over and over again. If as many as 388s as I can follow, I don't care. So she filed it finally, and then. So I just have to wait and see if they're going to approve it or not, or because I've had dramatic changes in my life since the whole thing happened in the first place. And I have almost all my classes done, and I don't see why she would be able to file 388 and it be get denied when I've been told by, I know you don't always believe the social workers, Miss G, don't yell at me for this one, but the social workers actually told me to file the 388 to get my girls back because of the CFT meeting we had the other day. And yeah, so I told my attorney that I was like, the social workers you want me to talk to told me to file this 388. So they told me to tell you to file this 388 to do it. They told me to tell you because I told them that you weren't helping me do it. And they told, well, if you want help doing it, then you need to tell your attorney. So I told her that, and so she's finally doing it. But that's where I'm at with my case right now.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that you're making progress. My man Destin, what's going on with you?
Oh, sorry guys. I was just having a little bit of a mental breakdown from hearing these ladies' story. I guess I really don't know why they had their kids taken away, so I guess I can't cast judgment saying that those kids were the victims or not. I can't project my own story onto every story. I would really I guess that not all CPS is bad, and I guess because some kids do get abused and some kids probably do find good homes. So I don't want to take up the whole show, but I kind of do want to tell my story about that. It's really important that all the corruption gets weeded out, because I don't think it's in every single state and municipal in every county, but I think that sometimes the pedophiles and the abusers, they get in government and they can make a lot of money per kid, per pop, on socialized welfare of $600 a month per kid. And then oftentimes they get more money if the child is in need of assistance, if they can somehow manipulate the child into taking an outrageous amount of pharmaceuticals that often end up having lawsuits against them. And then, but yeah, I just want to be able to tell my story. And I guess every situation is not the same, but I just want to make it known to the world that if CPS is going to continue to break apart families, they're going to traumatize those kids for life unless that they can guarantee 100,000,000% guarantee that those kids are going to have loving, joyful, intellectual, positive, encouraging parents, not abusive ones that they run away from and then get the abuse that I experienced in the institutions were almost worse in some points after I ran away from my abusive home. And I wasn't the only foster kid that they kept giving those people. And then they all ended up running away as well and getting sent to state institutions. This was in Iowa, but I'm 30 now, and I still have PTSD from it. I refuse to take any pharmaceutical drugs. I don't need them. I do my Qigong, my pranayama, my gratitude. I am grounded. I am present. I could have been killed in there. I could have been killed already for speaking out about this. I've already had death threats, so I'm happy to be here now. and I'm not going to worry about continuing to be gang stalked online and offline. Because if I die, bring it. I hope they do kill me. Because I'm joking. I don't hope they kill me. I really want to live. But maybe if they kill me and I've broadcasted this, people will just look into how dangerous some of these homes are that they're putting kids into in these state institutions. Because these kids don't deserve that. And I've pretty much raised myself my whole life. And I've owned 3 companies that only lasted 3 months each. I'm not a stupid person. And I don't have any of those things that they said that I had. All I had was being trafficked and trauma. Being trafficked from my mom and trauma. If you want to try to put all these, oh, he has this. Because when I do my meditation and my chakras and my Tai Chi, and I do my workout and I eat healthy, I drink a gallon of water a day. I do my gratitude. I have my gratitude book right here that I made. This was all self-taught. It says, create your vision board manifesto and fill it with positive affirmations and your heart's gratitude. And then I have the book on here, The Celestine Prophecy. What if heaven on earth are the same place? What if heaven on earth? So I don't know, but if you guys want to hear it, I'll let you guys hear it. I would really like to let everyone know that because I'm actually afraid that I'm going to get killed here soon. I'm not even fucking around. I mean, I'm sorry, I swore. I'm not.
That's all right. You know, I want to ask Destin and Tiana a question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Are either of you or both of you interested in doing your own live stream on
Of
CPS?
Of course. I would love that.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm not going to talk bad about CPS because I'm going to be coherent and I'll be grounded too.
Okay. Well, this is what I want you to do. I want you to, and I'll put this in the comments, I want you to email our producer. Her name is Grace.
I'll even drive there. I don't care if it's 20 hours away. I'll drive there.
Where are you?
Right now I'm in Sacramento.
Okay. Is that where you live?
Well, right now, I am choosing to live in my vehicle. It's now paid off just because I can't see myself working full time at this point until I find out what I'm working on Ikigayu, what I need, what the world needs, what heals my soul and what heals other people's soul. And I'm trying to work on starting a business soon. But yeah, I can travel.
Okay. Well, you don't have to travel because of the internet. You can do your show from wherever. So Tiana and Destin, I would like you to contact Grace at vincentwdavis.com.
Okay.
Tell her that you are interested in having your own show. These streams, these live streams can run 24/7, 365, right?
Oh, wow.
There's no limitation whatsoever.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'll do it.
Perfect. Georgette, you wanted to say something?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that all social workers are scumbags.
I'm gonna stand up for some of the social workers out there because I know that probably most of them are, but there's got to be a couple. I mean, I used to have such a negative outlook on the world, but
I've gone through 4 of them,
Yeah.
and I haven't had any good of them. None of them. They've
I'm
all.
sorry, Dustin. I'm so glad you're going that road and you're taking the positive outlook. But I'm sorry, sweetheart. I hate to disappoint you, but no, there isn't one.
There isn't.
I'm sorry.
It's fucked up. I mean, I just don't understand how they could legally child traffic kids and do the things they did to me. And then when I talk about it online, threaten to kill me and send goons out on me. They tracked me through my cell phone. they just passed a law through COVID-19 that you can be contact traced, which is actually something to do with being tracked through your cell phone legally. One of those guys that was in Russia, the guy that was exposing the CIA or the FBI guy, Edward Snowden or somebody, talked about it. So they had goons with pistols on their laps threatening me. You better be careful what you talk around here, boy. Someone might hit you with their car. They want me dead. They want to kill me. They threaten to blow up my car.
It's so crazy that you're talking about that, because my mom was just telling me that about she goes, Tiana, I want you to be careful. If you're going to do this, she goes, be careful because of all this like conspiracy stuff and about how just the world is right now.
All those kids
to say that my whole family warned me too when
Really?
I started doing these shows. Like, that's how bad it is, where people are warning me, like, don't go on there and talk bad about CPS because they'll just retaliate and this and that. And
I don't care.
I totally believe. I really do, because I've had a couple of
I
problems.
get the chills.
You know? I've been doing these shows, but like, I don't know.
I don't care.
If someone's threatening to kill you, crowdfund $2,000 and get 10,000 flyers and go to YouTube VidCon and talk to all the YouTubers that have 1 million plus subscribers and get your story out, because it's mass media. They're going to censor you. They're going to use AI, artificial intelligence, to censor you. I've been deplatformed now 12 times from Facebook and taken down on Facebook.
But wait a minute.
I have gang stalkers on my Facebook.
But wait a minute. Let me just add this. For those of you that have Obama phones, okay, Obama phones was designed to track people. Remember that. It's free. Yes, everything that's free, there's always a catch to it, okay? Secondly, they tried to do that with iPhone, with Apple, and Apple refused to have the government tap in people's conversations. So the only ones that allow the government to tap in people's conversations, and I kid you not, Samsung, Android, and Obama phones.
Oh, wow.
Just letting you guys know. Also, a lot of you guys don't think that social workers monitor your homes. They do monitor your homes. They send random people in their cars monitoring you. So when you say you're not going to go see your ex-husband who you have a domestic violence against, guess what? They're following you.
Yes,
Move you're making, and if you don't think this is happening, you're being delusional. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying to you, because it does happen. So letting you guys know.
And if you start to get gang stalked, that's psychological warfare that draws on your adrenal glands. What they try to do is drive you insane, so that so what it does is it wears down your adrenal glands, spikes the cortisol to really high levels, and then they want to make you not schizophrenic, but hyper paranoid through PTSD, so that you won't even feel safe. It's psychological warfare.
Right. It makes you when you're dealing with a bully, you have to understand, you guys, the system is a bully, right? They're not going to get their funding if they don't take children. You guys don't understand that a social worker salary includes a year incentives, percentage that they get based on every child they remove that year. So you guys need to be mindful. This is all business. There is no one social worker that's great. Bullshit. It's bullshit. Not. I'm sorry. It's not. Whoever tells you that is fucked up in the head, because social workers want to ensure their money comes in from the federal government.
Yep.
How in the fuck are they going to get their money if they can't, if they don't have children, right? So basically, you guys need to understand they do have enough money to send people following you. There's a lady that was followed to Ralph's, a lady that was followed to Bavarian Market, a lady that was followed to the doctor. I mean, and she kept asking him, who are you? Who are you? And they would take videos of her. I mean, it was insane. Then later on, she found out that it was a social worker. So there's random people. So don't be bullied by a bully. And I think I told you guys on my show, if Cassandra, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I mentioned on my show when I got the 3 social workers calling me, threatening me. I wasn't afraid. Honestly, the older I get, the more bold I am. And I don't give a fuck anymore. I really don't give a fuck. So all I said to them, I said, bring it on, bitches. And I hung up the phone. I mean, a social worker knew my name, obviously, from the shows. She knew everything about me. And she wanted me to stop doing my shows. And then I just wouldn't have it. So you guys need to understand, if you allow a bully to bully you, you're just going to be weaker. And that's what they want you. They want you to break. They want you to be weak. They want you to rely on drugs. They want you to drink yourself to sleep. They want you to numb the pain. Don't allow it. Be stronger.
No.
Put on your armor of God. If you're Christian, you'll know what I'm talking about. And be
Yes.
bold and walk like a warrior and your head lifted high. Don't
Oh,
allow a bully to mess with you and your psyche. That's all I have
and
to say.
and I created a YouTube channel called Spiritual Fitness Evolution. I just did 1,000 swings with 2 10-pound swords in each hand against child trafficking, regular child trafficking, and legalized child trafficking through CPS.
Right. And I think I told you guys before the show started about the judge that was arrested in Memorial Day.
Mhm.
The
Yes.
FBI arrested that judge. By the way, sex trafficking children from CPS from ages 9 to age 14 or 16, something like that. When the FBI arrested him, they didn't know he was a judge at first. Mind you not. Now, you guys have to keep in mind, yes, I hear some attorneys say, well, not all judges, not all social workers, not all court-appointed attorneys. My
Bullshit.
opinion, they're all corrupt. All of them. All of them.
Oh yeah, you know
I-
Yeah,
what
it's
we're
like
gonna do?
86% of the kids that they get for sex trafficking, I heard it was from CPS. Like,
Correct.
so most of them, and I know
Yep.
out here in Arizona, since we're so close to the border, it's
Yeah,
it's
then they
sickening.
say that when you talk like this, they say you're crazy. When you
Yeah.
talk like this, they say you're losing your mind. You're crazy. You live in your car, and blah 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 blah. But what they don't understand, they put people in that position. They put parents in that position.
Yes.
Because when they steal a child from you, it breaks your heart in a way where you can't just pick up the pieces and put it together. You have to be strong enough minded. Like I used to tell Davis, I learned how to meditate, do meditation as
Yeah.
early as age 14 or 15, but I learned that behavior from my parents. My parents, when life hits them, they would pray and do meditation together. I learned that it's easy to say it, but it's hard to do.
It
So
is.
you need to get yourself used to it. You need to get yourself so used to it to the point where that's what you run to. Stay away from drugs. Stay away from alcohol. Like I said, all they want you to do is numb your pain so you can be in the dark. You can't wake up. You're still going to be in the dark. And none of this is going to change your situation.
Yep.
So you need to be strong enough and you need to overcome the system. You need to know how to play the cards right to overcome it. A lot of people say I can handle my case on my own. That's a lie. I don't care what you think. You can't handle the case on your own. You can't just choose any attorney. You have to choose the right attorney to handle your case. A right attorney that understands how to deal with a narcissistic, sociopathic, sons of bitch system, right?
Psychopath.
That knows how to use certain strategies based on the case that can help you win the case. You guys don't understand that. I mean, there is so much you guys don't understand. I learned a lot from Davis, and I still can't process all the crap that he talked about. I forget because it's so much information that there's no way I can just take it and implement it on my own. Because
Yeah.
there's certain body language. There are certain things to say to a judge and not say to the judge. You need your appearance, for example. You can't go to court looking like a prostitute on Sunset Street. You have to dress professionally, like you go into a job interview.
Yes.
You're not
So
corporate America looking like a prostitute. They don't want to see your titties. They don't want to see your ass. They don't want to see, nothing. They want to see you professional. You need to act like it. And you need to understand you need to present yourself in a way where they can see that you're not this crazy person. But if you let them push your buttons, you're going to fall. You will never wake up and you're going to lose your children. So don't fuck your case. When you have a good attorney, I'll give you an example. Jennifer Ani is going to do a show with me. She wanted to do a show with me last week, in fact. Jennifer deals with a lot of people. She's a great attorney, by the way. Aside from Mr. Davis, he's number one, of course. But Jennifer Ani So Jennifer Ani, you can laugh. I'm gonna say yippee-yay, but never mind. Anyways, you are a great attorney. There's nobody above you. But Jennifer Ani is a great attorney. Okay, she was dealing with a client, and I know who she is. I'm gonna remain nameless on that client. I was on the phone with her and the client. The client knew I was listening, taking notes, all that. Jennifer Ani asked the client, Jennifer Ani told the client, hey, I told you not to talk to the social workers. I told you not to speak to the children attorney. So what does she do? She takes a basket full of muffins and pies and flowers. She was like trying to buy them off, literally. So Jennifer's like, what are you doing? I told you specifically, blah, 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 blah. She said to Jennifer, I know what I'm doing. She knows what she's doing. So guess what? She lost her children. But then what she do, which really blew my freaking mind, is she said it was Jennifer's fault. That's bullshit, because the attorney would enforce to you guys, do not speak to anybody without them. Then why in the fuck are you guys hiring an attorney? If you're going to do it your way, then blame it on the attorney for your screw up. Then why are you hiring an attorney to begin with? You see, I witnessed all the bullshit. I witnessed all the bull crap that goes on. So
I don't know how many times you've said that on the show.
Huh?
You've said that so many times that people mess up their case so bad.
Yes,
Like just
they do.
because they don't want to listen to the professional attorneys that you guys are hiring, and you're not even listening to them. Like if I had the money to hire an attorney and get like the help like that, why in the hell would you go against something that you're paying for, that you're wanting? Like these are your children, and you guys are not listening to your attorneys that you're hiring and trusting to take care of your case for your children.
And again, when they lose their case, then they write a bad review saying, oh, my attorney never returned my call. My attorney. All they want is money. Well, you know what?
I gotta get paid.
No. Let me make it very clear. I need to speak this out. The court-appointed attorneys make money whether they work on your case or not. We get paid for services. We offer services, but if you're going to screw your case, right, when you pay for an attorney, then it's on you. But people don't want to take accountability for their own screw up. They have to blame an attorney. And let me explain something to each and every one of you guys. I am on the phone calls with each and every attorney's calls. I know how long they spoke with you. I know how long they dedicate themselves to work on your case. So don't give me the BS. And if you're talking to me on the phone ever complaining about an attorney, you're not going to hear anything nice from me, because each and every attorney in our office busts their ass to work and win. Jennifer Ani, Andrew Haas, Judy Nugent, Joyce Vega, and I can go on and on. All these people bust their ass. You know what they tell me before each hearing? I don't want to hear anything negative. I'm going to win. All they want to hear is win. But you know what want people to tell them? What if we win? What if we lose? What if we lose? What if we... Why in the hell would you even want to go in court thinking you're going to lose? I mean,
why manifest that?
Another thing.
Ladies, hold on, ladies. Let's slow the roll just a little bit.
Jesus, it's just, I deal with it every single day. People, like, grow up.
Okay, all right. So, listen, I'm trying to keep to a schedule for these shows. All right.
Yep.
I'm dedicating to trying to do these shows every evening at 7 p.m. All right. So we're going to be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. If look in the posts I put Grace's number, email there if you want to be on the show. If any of you folks that are on with me this evening want to be on the show, let Georgette know and we'll get you on the show, or let Grace know. All right. I'm going to have to sign off now. I'm sorry to interrupt that roll, Georgette. You were going and going and going. I love to hear it, but believe it or not, I have a client who's waiting for my call back. I don't know if you saw me talking on the phone. I was talking to somebody, and I said, I'm finishing the show. I'll call you right back. So We're going to sign off now. I want to thank everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Justin, Georgette, Tiana, Cassandra. And Cassandra, I want to see you back with your individual show soon. But anyway, Georgette, are you going to be with me tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Georgia, can you get a hold of us about the book and then the show, whatever, as well?
That's my pleasure. Just do me a favor. Just call the office and give them your name, your full name, and phone number, and I will definitely give you. I usually communicate with people via text or call.
Okay.
So if I can't get a hold of you or Dustin, I will text it to you. Okay.
All right, great.
All
Thank you.
Good
Do you have my phone number?
You have
No,
to call.
I have it. I'll have Grace call you.
Cassandra has it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, folks. See you guys
Good
tomorrow
night.
at 7.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.